That's cool. Um, hey Ashley,
Yeah.
just to confirm whether or not we're actually live streaming right now, would you jump onto um mhm, YouTube? If you check out Owl Echo Entertainment, you should see it.
hmm When I go to your page, I see.
Sweet. If you want to stick around there for now, just to moderate. Um, and then hey man, so technically we are on Twitch.
I'll go there. Are y'all,
Um,
or is it Owl Echo there too?
it
Y'all,
should be, yeah, Owl Echo Entertainment. Don't you love it when people put stuff on their lips right before they drink? Whew. All right, I'm excited to get this party started. And it feels like a party. And you know why it feels like a party? Because it is an intentional break with social aspect. Like, it's not just an interview. It's not just a podcast. It is like, it is important to rest and rest with intention and socialize with intention beyond just what can you do for me? that 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 is what we're doing today. You guys mind if I launch into it? Sweet. Uh, hey there. My name is Kay Ross, the founder and CEO of Owl Echo Entertainment, here streaming to you live in Los Angeles, California. And you know, it sounds all sorts of official when I do it that way, but the truth is that today, especially in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, we're taking a moment to take a proper tea break as I lift my precarious teacup. um, and during our tea break, we're going to be visiting with some professionals in the industry. Now, when I say the industry, I mean film, television, media, specifically to both get to know each other, but also to dig a little deeper. So, cheers to the first day of Mental Health Awareness Month. Hmm. Now, I do have a friend that should be joining me today, but if not, you know what? We're just going to roll with it because that's what we do in the industry. Just to give you a little breakdown of what Biscuits with Bosses is, it's essentially just tea time with people in the industry, specifically to, in honor of Ted Lasso's Biscuits with the Boss, get to know each other personally, right? Just as people have a bit of a chat. Um, and I personally love using the prompts from this beautiful little card deck. Da, da, da. It's called Actually Curious. And Actually Curious looks like a game, but actually it's a card deck. And the purpose of the card deck is to give you little prompts on ways to get to know people, right? And it's actually color coded as well. So if you need like different subjects, you know, you can pick from the green pile or the blue pile or the pink pile. I personally pulled out some from the yellow pile, although I've moved my pile somewhere. Oh no, that's what I get for moving my pile. I can't seem to. Yep, I see my pink, I see my green, see my blue. Oh, there's my yellow. I was like, what? It's just somewhere on my desk. Um, and then after the getting to know you, we like to move into what I like to refer to as the victory round. That is to say, what have you done recently that you're really proud of and you actually want to celebrate? And let us help you celebrate it. And then we're going to round it out with what are you building, right? As leaders in the industry, as bosses, because we are having biscuits with bosses. What are you building on? And this particular aspect was really important to me as a filmmaker because while I am not new to the industry and certainly not new to production, I am fairly new to being an entrepreneur, where I actually have to make not just executive decisions, but make, smaller internal decisions. So I want to hear from people who've been doing it a lot longer than I have, about what they're doing behind the scenes, beyond just the mission of their company to elevate the future of filmmaking. So that being said, if and I won't volunteer you entirely, but we had a little pregame chat and it was so fun. But I'm joined here with my associate producer and my master editor. Matthew, do you want to go first and tell us what what your drink of choice is today?
Sure. So I usually drink coffee, but I've had like two coffees already. So I'm going with the classic Capri Sun. Can't go wrong. Pacific Cooler. It's nice and cold. I'm loving it. It's a great day.
I feel like I completely skipped your actual introduction. Do give us a little 2 minutes about you, what it is you do, like where you come from, and maybe a little bit about where you want to go.
Sure. Excuse me. So hi. Matt and I do a lot of social media editing and other social media management. So I generally work with wonderful people like Kay to figure out, what is the best way to promote material, what is the best way to kind of get the word out there about whatever project you're working on. And then my specialty is kind of figuring out how to get that in under 60 seconds and how to do that on a kind of regular basis. And where do I want to go with that? I'm not really sure. I love editing and I love continuing to help people promote their stuff and do their projects, get that seen. Um, but I do kind of make YouTube videos on the side, so hopefully I can kind of grow that and between those two, figure something out.
Yeah, man, like the original Explorer page. I love that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Just exploring this chapter of my life. Uh, wait now. So, because the Capri Sun thing, Ashley, you were saying that Capri Sun is found where again?
Has found.
Yeah, you were like at dances or raves or like where's Capri Sun
Oh,
normally
like
consumed?
in any family party and any big gatherings that involve children, young, tiny human beings, there's always a table full of Capri Suns. So what I was saying in response to Matthew's choice of drink today, which was phenomenal still, I'll say it again, is you always start with the Capri Sun before you start with the harder liquors and everything else. It's a good free drink.
Mm,
Hmm.
insider tip. Ooh, I love that mug.
I love a good old TJ Maxx mug. It's they've never stopped with their decor design game. My favorite place to lose myself in.
That's awesome.
Ah,
Mhm.
feel like that also feels like a really great like rest stop, not just a tea break, but a TJ Maxx break.
Exactly.
Um, Ashley, do you want to tell us what you're drinking and maybe just 2 minutes about you?
Sure. So I'm drinking some Japanese apple tea. It's tastes more like green tea. However, it has the essence of apple
Oh,
in it in its aftermath, which I'm not upset about. So it's pretty good. Highly recommend it. And I'm also having some chocolate digestive biscuits on the side for that balance of just regular no sugar and just a little bit of dark chocolate on the top, which is preferred for me. Um,
mm,
right. But a little bit about me is that I am an associate producer and a coordinator. So I do a lot of events. I do a lot of productions. I've been part of the film industry, I think, for the past 12 years now. I started pretty early on, and a lot of it was just the same basic work of on set work for indie films, for episodes, for short films, things like that. And then I liked every bit of it. Um, and as of now, I've been working on I've been working amongst all different types of companies, as in big corporations, small corporations, YouTube channels, things like that, helping the production department and other departments cohabitate, collaborate with celebrities, international celebrities as well, big TV programs, just getting in the I guess plan of just making things just to make sure that everyone has something enjoyable when they come home, turn on the TV, get on Netflix or anything that they want to use, and just kind of lose themselves for a couple of hours or have something to look forward to on a series basis, for example.
Yeah.
What I like to do, what I like to do. I like to be the helper. I like to be the collaborator. I like to put in some 2 cents of visual creative. And yeah, that's kind of where I like to be. That's what I do. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, man. And I'm so glad that both of you are part of my team. And just with the little time that I've been able to actually work with you and not just know you, Ashley, like I feel like you're so adaptable, you're so organized, and I'm grateful to have you like add that perspective to everything that I've been doing. And cheers to you, Matthew, because I feel like a lot of what you bring to the team is you're so fast and you're so knowledgeable about the new media. Because I'm kind as a millennial, apparently I'm a like this much a millennial. That I'm still in old school training, right? So when you make something, it's from the ground up and it is fully fleshed out before you start marketing it. And, there's no 60-second, you know, there's no short turnaround for a 60-second content because nobody does that. Like everybody makes it 3 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, cheers to you both. Oh, sorry. What am I doing? There's an actual thing for cheers. Cheers to you both.
Cheers.
This is one of my favorite mugs. Cups. I guess it technically is a cup. If you can't read it, it says feeling extra. And on those days, yeah, sometimes you just gotta let the cup say it for you. But I had to do it with my favorite tea, which is Irish breakfast, not British. No, no. This one has floral notes. It's quite melodic. Um, and always with local honey, always with almond milk. It's my happy place. And I'm with you, Ashley. Actually, when one thing is not sweet, I need the other thing to be sweet. So because that's sweet, I brought out the nice china. And I got myself a little cracker and cheese to go with it.
Oh,
And then I realized I might be crunching in your ear. So
not at all. Not at all.
okay. Let's see. I'm just gonna that just based on that alone, I'm thinking yellow may be a little too in depth. So uh why don't we try green? Green seems plentiful. Not to mention, it is May Day. And because it is May Day, I say let's go for the greenery. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Matt, why don't you choose first of 5? Which one would you like?
Number 2.
Number 2. Ding, ding, ding. Number 2 says, when should businesses have the right to refuse service to patrons? You're giggling because I feel like we've had this conversation recently. What do you think?
So I worked in the food industry for a little bit, so I've had some personal experience with this. And while I fully believe that you should be able to serve every customer, any customer you want to serve, you can make whatever business practice you want. But when it's the time to push someone out is either when they're being disruptive, like to your crew members or the other patrons, or when it's 15 minutes past close. And those are the acceptable times to say, okay, you can leave now. That's great.
I like how there's like a time limit with it too. Like it's not even anything personal. or argumentative. It's just, it's time. Bye now.
Yep. Like we're done. We haven't served anything new in 15 minutes and people have to leave in 15 minutes and they can't clean your tables if you're still there. So I'd appreciate
Mm-hmm.
it if you could just take this conversation outside. We'll give you a bag. You can refill your drinks. Like I don't care. Just please let us lock the doors.
I think that gets harder actually the more one-on-one your clients are though. When they're
Sure.
customers, you're kind of, I hate saying you have social proof, right? You're in this setting where other people can see the service you perform. And so part of the determination is if what you're doing for this one person is disturbing this other person, then there's reason to excise you from the space.
Sure.
A lot of my clients are one-on-one. And, at what point do I say, hey, this is no longer working? Not that I don't want your money, just that I don't have to say yes. Um, so yeah, when should businesses have the right to refuse service to patrons? Um, Pretty much for any reason, but I do think that some of those things have to be stipulated ahead of time, right? Like, here are my company policies so that you know ahead of time. I think, again, the closer they get to client status, that's kind of, um, I don't know, not justifiable, but giving everybody the opportunity to bring their best, but also not sabotage one or the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think full disclosure, transparency really helps with that, where it's like, look, I'm not trying to screw you over by working with you 75% of the way and then being like, hey, I'm going to refuse your business. That's not my point. um, yeah. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of transparency to make sure that that doesn't happen. But should it happen, yeah, I should be
That's
able to
fair.
do it the moment it's crossing into other business, like you say.
Yeah.
Ashley, did you want to answer this one, or did you want to pull a new one?
I like new ones, so I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what else it pulls up.
All right. Those were, oh, I already had five. Dun, dun, dun. 1 through 5. Feel free to choose one.
Number 2.
Ooh, back to number 2. Uh, it says, what do you think is missing from the current standardized academic curriculum?
Oh my God.
Wow.
How long do we have?
Such a loaded question too. I mean, well, I can only speak to California's system. Not that it's any much different from the rest of the nations, but for California, the district system, the public school district system, that's the one I was born and raised in. One of the major things that was a big thing when I was in school, after school, before I started school through my brother, I was learning through my brothers, was the encouragement and keeping the programs alive of just music and performing and visual arts. Still a big thing that needs to be protected. And the fact that it needs so much consistency just for kids to have to feel comfortable living and creating and thinking for themselves and being individuals and growing their confidence in just things that aren't as serious and scary, uh, but just as important as learning math is, learning English, things like that. It's such a big thing. And I don't know, I might be a little biased because I am in a very creative industry. But so much of that extends to other creative parts in every other industry, even the medical field, even um, especially the educational field. We're not humans without being able to bond over things. We can't cultivate friendships, relationships, work, relationships without having some sort of a bonding moment, some sort of a let's put our shields down, um, and like see if we can make things work. And that's such a huge thing that eventually echoes into your everyday life, which is the majority of your everyday life is not your home life, it's your work life.
Mm.
So yeah, hopefully that answered the question.
Oh
Which is
yeah.
such a loaded question.
I'm eating it up. I mean, I'm eating it up because I also, I was raised in the DC area and in Northern Virginia. It's fairly affluent just because the amount of tax money from all of the military or federal transplants that are there, because there's so many government workers in that area. There's a lot of money for the county. Um, and yet, even in the late 90s, we were writing letters to our representatives as teenagers going, don't cut funding for the arts. Um, and some part of the bid, even then, was um, did you know that because I'm applying my knowledge to this very practical endeavor, I'm learning more real world skills from this than I have in any of my other classes because I have to apply knowledge because it's more about executing the plan than making the plan, right? And not just like some little presentation inside of a classroom, right? Like this thing that I'm working with, dozens of other people on is going to be shown in front of 1,100 people as a teenager, like, um, and don't take that away from me thinking that, I'm just splashing around in a pool, this isn't a sandbox. And I can't off the top of my head tell you exactly how many people, but so many people from my generation, not just my graduating class, but the three below and the three above, went into the arts professionally straight after that because we were prepared, because we made that investment. And even if they didn't, the quality of life is so much better when you include the arts. Like I remember going to this convention hosted by For Freedoms, which is a nonprofit organization that rallies artists to help with social justice issues. So they've been known to like design billboards or posters and things to help use their art to make a statement to enact change now, which is huge when you think about the idea that what we make as artists inspires real change in those other arenas that you think are way more important. um, and at this convention, there was actually a presentation about how over the years, when we have put more funding into policing schools, scores have gone down, grades have gone down, graduation rates have gone down. And yet when we put funding into, the arts, not just because it's like a preventative measure where I can express myself in a healthy arena, right? But it allows us to 2 plus 2, right? That it allows us to connect the dots between STEM and STEAM and then the application of those things. So all the yeses, Ashley, that's really what I'm saying is all the yeses.
Yeah, I
um
mean, I've never really met anyone in all my years of being alive on this earth super against something like the arts, because I've never been in a conversation where it makes sense to remove something that's not hurting anything. It's not taking away from the attention other subjects in schools. It's really just adding on. It's giving a different perspective. It's not hurting the educational system, the guidelines, the whatever tests and the system that's already been put in place. It's just adding on to it. It's really just taking away free ability to really um expand the kid more into a world that they can choose from and contribute to and be excited to contribute to, versus having the feeling of just kind of accepting these are your choices. It widens the choices because there's so many choices out there, um, and each of them are equally hard. It doesn't matter what industry you're going into at any time in your life, but it's so needed. And it makes it so much helpful to also interact with other people in multiple industries, because you never really know how, so, like one day you're going to overlap in some moment, in some opportunity, in some situation. It's just natural. So why would you want to border up um something like that for a poor excuse of money? It's actually not very expensive whatsoever. Not in comparison, I would say, to any other art or subject, I would say. So that's one thing that I would never never not agree with trying to keep alive. It's definitely an ongoing conversation, an ongoing protest, an ongoing push to continue to keep yeah.
Yeah, man. I love that we're even talking about this because I feel like there must be a vibe right now because just the other day something came up about how it's insane that we're asked to choose between what we love and what we do well versus what we're willing to do for money to buy our way out of servitude so that we can finally feel free to do the thing that we love and we do well. And some part of it comes from just the valuation based on capitalist society, right? If you go into something product based, you're probably going to make more money because they stand to make more money. Whereas if you go into something service based, you're less likely to make money because we don't value it as much, which just across the board means we value what we make more than we value what people do, which is for me insane. Not just because I'm a people person, but because I sincerely believe that the most valuable thing a human can contribute is their adaptability, right? What are you able to do? What are you capable of doing? What can you continue to innovate upon to bring to the world? And that isn't always a clean, packageable thing, right? Sometimes it's in the quality of the time spent. So service industry of any form is really, really hard because, yeah, you have to justify paying that much in a world stacked full of easy transactions, digestible products, and the ticket that comes with it. I feel like that's a really easy segue to also say, hey, look out for our upcoming Shopify link. We actually started making merch based on some of for me, the most classy things I've ever heard in LA. um, One such celebrity, since you mentioned that earlier, Ashley, randomly met them at a grocery store, and this person was like, "Well, I'm off duty," and we were like, "Yep, totally understood. No, no selfie needed." But the implication that we can be in the same space and um still kind of exchange information or still like say, hey, I think you're a cool person, but not like take over your time just by saying, hey, I'm off duty. I was like, oh, I need those shirts. So look out for the off-duty line coming soon. But I also think this is a good break into our next section about the victory round. I feel like, wait, I remember. We have a thing for the breaking of the new thing. Let me see if I got this right. Haha, yeah. Um, before we move on, I just want to also address anybody who may be listening live, even if you're listening as part of the recording. Don't forget that we want to hear from you too, especially if you're from the industry. We just, as a group, went through the 2 minutes about you. We also answered a couple of getting to know you questions. So you are more than welcome in the comments below. Give us your little spiel, right? Your 2 minutes about you, the best way to get in contact with you if you're a YouTube person or an Instagram person, or if you're, extra fly and you know about Blue Sky, totally fine. Leave us that contact information so that you can network with people in the thread, which is always super fun. But next, and this is the one I really want you to participate in, is the victory round, because we want to know what did you do this last week that you're super proud of, right? And ideally, this isn't accolades, right? This isn't something that somebody else attributed to you. This is something that you did, whether you had a witness to bear or not, that reflects your values. Matt, Ashley, would either of you like to start? If not, I can also go under the gun. I realize that I keep asking you guys to start first.
Sure. Would you mind giving an example first of that, and then I'm happy to go.
Yeah. Okay. So for example, this is actually a really good way to think of this. I'll see if I can bring up an example of the uh 8 dimensions of wellness. Because I can do all sorts of screen share things. Yeah, like that. Give me the image. Let me blow up the image. You can actually see it. Okay, so usually when I do a victory round, I say you can pick from any of the 8 dimensions of wellness. My apologies for seeing all of my extra tabs over here. So of the 8 dimensions, right, you can do physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, right? Any of these aspects. But you can also go into environmental, like your immediate surroundings, your financial wellness, your occupational wellness, even your social wellness, right? If it's hard for you to get outside normally, and you actually made the effort to like meet someone new, that would be a victory in the social wellness category. So, for example, one of the things I would celebrate is actually a physical one because I have a walking buddy and we met up on Tuesday. Now, usually, if it starts before 8 a.m., I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can get up that early. But this time I was like, you know what? The only time I can squeeze it in is 7:30. I really want to do it because the rest of my day is really hectic. But it's not an either or situation. I'm just going to make it happen. And not only did I get there on time, but it just energized me for the rest of the day. And we've already made arrangements for another walk on Friday, which is awesome because usually like once a week is as good as it gets. So I'm very proud, not just that I made the effort, but I got there on time. Um, and that I'm following up on it. And I think that's the other end of the victory round that I always like to point out, which is now that you know what's important to you because you took action towards it, how are you intending to build on it? Because for me, what I want to build on is not just to make it part of my routine, but make sure that it's more than just once a week. Because physically it's great, but it's my social time. I get to see my buddy. Do you want to see the dimensions of wellness up while you look for your victory?
I can just shout out one.
Go for it.
So you were talking about walking, and that got me thinking that I have recently kind of gotten back into working out. I haven't
Hmm.
like gone to the gym or anything, but in high school I used to just do push-ups and sit-ups before every day. That was just an easy way to do it. And then I went to college and I just stopped, and it took a long time for me to get back into it. But now I'm starting or just about ending my third week of actually working out every morning. Um, I did so like 2 weeks ago, I started with 50 push-ups, sit-ups, and squats, and now I'm excuse me, at 60 push-ups, sit-ups, and squats this week. And next week I hope to up it to 70. Um, so that felt good because it was really difficult to like get into it because I was like, man, I've wanted to do this, and then I did the first day and I'm like, this sucks, I'm sore, and then I didn't want to do it the next day and I'm like, okay, well I should probably rest. But then by the third day I was like, well, if I don't do it today, I'm just never gonna like get back to it. So then I I like was figuring out my actual like best path forward. Like, should I do it in the morning? Should I do it at night? And like I found out like don't drink coffee before working out. Um, that sounds like something that I probably should have known, but because of how acidic coffee is, it can like hurt in like a tensed stomach. Um, and I didn't know that. So like the first week was actually really bad, and then now I'm like, oh, okay, let's not do that. Uh, and now like this week has been good. So, um, yeah, that's my little physical like personal victory round is I'm trying to be healthy again.
Well done. That's so exciting. And to memorialize this, I say cheers to your workout efforts, sir.
Cheers, and cheers to you. We didn't do that to your workout
Aw,
efforts, your walking efforts. Cheers.
thanks, man.
And can
Hmm.
I also say for that first week where you were doing 50 reps of each thing, that was is already impressive. I'm like a 10 like as a starter. So that's already a great start that you should be really proud
Aw, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. How about you, Ashley? Have you done a what's your victory round?
of. I thought you were gonna ask me, do I work out? I was like, I should, I do not. Um, my victory, I think, is actually utilizing the space outside of where I live. I have a little back patio that I bought like just outdoor furniture to sit and just be around in silence amongst the little plants and flowers I have around me. Um, like 4 years ago. So it's just been it's used like twice a year. It collects dust, and in most of the work I've done in the last 5 years, it's been a lot of there's there's no time to really even go outside and have like a little personal work session break. So in the last couple of weeks, I would say the last 3 weeks, I've been giving myself very much like a cat outdoor sun time where I am collecting my drink of the day, a little snack bag of whatever I have available, taking either my iPad to draw stuff, my little sketch pad, or a book, and just really making sure I'm committed to at least an hour to 2 hours of time being outside in the sun. It's not blazing hot. Most of the time it isn't. And just kind of creating my own moment of peace without needing permission or needing to find a reason to like do it, like make it productive. Um, and I realized in doing that, a huge part of that was growing up, I wasn't really allowed to venture out because I lived in the city, so it was always very dangerous for anyone to be outside on their own, especially young girls. So I developed this fear growing up into I need to have a reason of like going to point A and point B. If you're leisurely outside, even if it's in your own backyard and front yard, something could happen. So it's just better to stay inside. So when I got older, I developed this thing of being like, I'm not gonna go outside, even if it's to my front lawn, unless there's a reason for me to be there to do something. And at the moment, I have more freedom to be more leisurely and reconnect with like just things that I like to do without having a reason or a job to provoke those things, whether it's creative, whether it's catching up on a book I've been wanting to finish and feeling guilty for just staring at it and being like, I'll finish it one day. Um, so I would say that's been my most recent victory. It's really just allowing myself to be outside on a daily basis and not having a reason, just being outside, enjoying what's outside, being more aware of the beauty that's outside. That's very simple. And slowing down and training myself to slow down, take a few minutes, more than just a couple minutes, because it's a reward. Know that like this is what life is supposed to be like, at least every bit of the day. So that's been really rewarding now. Now that I'm able to physically be outside and be like, this is nice. I understand what a house cat likes being in and relaxing. I fully get it now. So that's been a great thing.
Oh my God. A mental note, Matt. We need that like cheers button somewhere
Yeah.
because that's
We need a we
I,
need like a clapping sound, like
we need
yeah,
the
yeah,
clapping sound.
yeah.
Yep.
Like chimes something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like let's have the demure version, right? Like the Downton Abbey version, and then let's have the like Ted Lasso version, just so you know, depending on our mood, we can do either there.
Snaps, snaps, everyone,
Yes.
snaps.
Child. Whew, that cat is on a tear. No, sincerely, Ashley, I don't think you realized you were going to be today's poster child, but that I feel sincerely, I think you just inadvertently became, like, yeah, the spokesperson for exactly what we're attempting to do with Biscuits with Bosses, which, you know, clearly there are things to learn about the industry. But I think the subtext of what we're learning, what I'm hoping people take away from this is one, take the breaks, right? Like have your tea break, right? Have your outdoor sun break. Remind yourself like why you're living this life, not doing the job, why you're living this life. And then remember that you can take ownership of that time and make it a higher quality, right? You can connect with people or you can have a mentally stimulating conversation or you can change your environment and enjoy, you know, the sun or the, you know, the sounds of outdoors. Um, And in all of those different ways you can own it, the 8 dimensions of wellness, like you can take back your peace, you can take back your life. Um, and I hope that it comes from both directions, because mental health, I think, is often, there's this kind of finger pointing, like it's on you to make your life better. And I would challenge that by saying, well, yeah, personal responsibility is important. Thus, cheers to your outdoor time, because sun and flowers, and yes, it all sounds lovely. But I also say, if you're going to be a manager, if you're going to be a boss, if you're going to be a CEO, you have to recognize how your decisions affect the people that you've hired. And nobody's perfect, but I think if you're willing to, be receptive and hear people out, then you can continue to make strides in the industry to level up and take everybody with you, instead of at their expense. Um, so yeah, cheers to you both. That was a lot of fun.
Indeed. Cheers to everyone.
Wait now, did I do my victory? I can't remember.
Yeah, you did
Hold
a
on.
walking.
You were the first one.
Oh, that's right. Hold on. Because I couldn't remember. Well, okay, so that was an example. The victory I really wanted to claim was that later that day, I had my client. It was one of my first consultations for a full script and not just an outline. Because my happy place really is outlines. Like, just give me the big picture. Let me dive into the big picture and I'll get it done. So the script consultation went really well. Part of what I want to celebrate is that before the call started, I actually made an agenda for myself and I used it as the top sheet for the consultation so that myself and the client would both be on the same page. And not only did it keep us on time, but it felt like they got everything they asked for, because they could see that this is what you should expect and this is what you expect delivered. And just that clarity, man, it makes you feel so much better. Especially when you're doing something creative where there's any number of ways that you can derail. Like, I know you guys know this, but like, creativity in its nature is just exploratory, which means you can derail from things so easily. Yeah. Yeah. So I was proud of myself for basically keeping myself on task in order to keep both of us on task. Yeah.
Well, cheers to you as well.
Thanks, man.
Wind chime.
Oh, I love it so much. Also, just a friendly reminder that if anybody here is interested in learning more about what we do with Owl Echo, you can find us at owlecho.com. That came up specifically because of something that Ashley was saying, and my brain immediately goes, I can't remember anymore. Yep, look. Nope, I'm just gonna make that my sound every time I forget something. All right. I feel like we can wrap this up in the next 10 minutes, but before we do that, the big thing I usually want to dive into with guests is, based on what you do in the industry, what are you hoping to contribute to elevate the future of filmmaking? And just to give you an example, because I feel like the more complicated the question, sometimes you have to see the example. So for me, with Owl Echo, one of the reasons I'm doing both production as a writer producer and hopefully upcoming director, but I'm also doing coaching, is because part of what I learned as a writer producer is how to break story. That is to say, go from concept to treatment or an outline very, very quickly, and in a structured way that allows not just to make sure that we've checked all the boxes, but also so that if I have to hand that off to somebody else to say, expand on it into a screenplay or expand on it into a manuscript, that they're not lost, right? I'm really just creating anchor points, or as we like to call them, tent poles, Cool. I could keep that proprietary. I could keep it to myself and just pump things out and be like, haha, suckers. Like, there's no reason to share it. But I was like, if I take the time to share it, not only will I refine my own process, but I will also help other people get there faster. Because it makes me want to claw my eyes out how much my production brain goes, but why isn't there a structure in your development process? And everybody has their own structure. It's not that the structure isn't there. It's that the structure hasn't been as well defined as production because production has to be well defined. Development, not so much. Which again, I say is insane. um, so I think part of my intention as a boss, if I can call myself that, um, is to continue to share what I learn as I learn it so that we're all rising together. Um, yeah, that's my contribution to the industry, if I could. um, I will open it up. Ashley, Matt, either of you would like to go first? Thoughts on, or even if you don't necessarily feel like you're the one doing it right now, like what are your hopes for elevating the industry? And let's noodle on how we can make that happen. Because I'm a big believer of if you can talk it, you can do it.
Mhm. I can go. I think this is more of a main theme that I would like to see happen more, and I have my own way of doing it, but um I've trained, well, in what I do in the industry is a lot of negating situations and problems and conversations in any form that it may happen. To where you're supposed to make it much more productive to the end, to the initial end goal, without losing integrity, money, everything that goes under that umbrella. And one thing that I've always taken from as a positive experience is whenever I'm working with a leader, a boss that makes sure to keep their human aspect of the situation, of being like, it's easy to solve the problem of what we're running into, but there's always things attached to that problem. And it's always human or family or an illness or, whatever the situation is, it's going to have its effects. And the main thing that you always need to never forget is to make sure you're tending to every single part of the problem. The rest of it doesn't go away just because the main source is gone. There's such a long train of cars you have to go through to make sure the rest of the cargo gets to its destination unharmed, unscathed, and ready for the next thing, ready for the next delivery, Um, and that's something, at least for me personally, that's always kept um, the work I want to make with that person, whether it's consistent or every once in a while, that's what I always tend to go back to, people who are contributing to that positive part of the industry. Because I feel like those types of, I guess we can use managers and bosses, are kind of the reasons why um, it's easier to think of, well, it's easier to make your delineation of this is a job that I like to do, or is this job that is stressful, is it worth doing, what's the worth it part. um
Mm,
and it's a little bit, it goes into the mental health aspect, of course, but it's so easy to do little things like that, and it's not just doing something for the sake of not making a situation worse, it's to make sure you're solving it properly, correctly, with respect, with good intentions, and learning to make the right decisions if you didn't make it the first time.
yeah.
What I would love to contribute to it for the industry is, I think, helping nurture spaces that already exist like that. There's so many, and making sure they don't fizz out. And a huge
Yeah.
that is sometimes just literally going person by person as you collaborate with them, as you talk to them, and making sure that stays alive. And I feel like that's the bare minimum thing that anyone can do, and it's free. It's not a lot. It shouldn't be a lot of personal effort. It's really just tiny things here and there that uh keep the point of the project going.
Hmm. actually reminds me, there's a fantastic organization that I've recently learned about called Start Small, Think Big. I'll make sure that that link is down below for you guys so that you can catch it as part of the video description. But it's a phenomenal resource for small business owners, including free resources, so free classes, sometimes even evaluations. So if you need help with your finances or even building the structure of your company, because lots of us have a skill set, but not necessarily an entrepreneurial skill set. Anyway, but as you were saying that, I was like, y'all need to know about this because it's a phenomenal resource. And, anything like that where they're trying to do good and lift up the people and not just the profit. Yeah, let's help that out. I love that a lot. Um, Before I forget, because we can ramble on about this for a minute. Matt, any thoughts on like what you would love to see in the industry or what you're even contributing to right now to elevate the industry?
Um, what do I'm not sure I know what I hope to see in the industry. I should be more in camera. I'm not sure what I know what I hope to see in the industry, but I know what I want to contribute to the industry is at least right now is just entertainment value. And I want to show people that you can promote something or have a project for something and make the promotion for that entertaining still. And I want whatever video I make, whether it is for a client like you or for this workshop or just my personal stuff, like I want to contribute. I want people to go, "Oh, that was cool. I really like that and I want to see more of that," or I want to see something like that. I want to see this person again. Um, and so anyway, I can turn a normally large thing that would take a lot of resources for someone to get into and then turn it into a 60-second or less story that this story bite that is entertaining to someone, then I think I've done my job. Anytime someone's like the perfect loop doesn't exist, I'm like, yes, because like I know I can I've done something good. Like someone is paying attention to the actual edit and is seeing like, oh, I've seen this again. Like I don't know, to me that's like the number one blessing. So just making sure people are smiling, making sure people are enjoying someone else's work or my work is what I want to contribute.
I feel like you both said the same thing, but from opposite ends, right? Like the value add, but Matt, yours is really coming from the audience perspective, right? What am I making? And how do I know that it's actually worth the time of my audience? And then, like Ashley, you were saying, like, what am I making? And is it worth the time that I'm putting into it as a creative? Or even as, part of the creative team, because there are plenty of administrative or financial or accounting parts to that team. Um, and the biggest thing that came to mind as you guys were talking was just like, it's amazing how, when it comes to products, we have figured out that single-use products are no longer really valuable. No one has a watch that's just a watch, right? If it only tells time, then it is also decorative. It has to have a dual purpose, right?
Yeah.
And then of course, if it's not decorative, because this sucker is not fun to look at, but it has other functions. Um, so why is it, and we're just starting to figure out that if the thing that literally occupies our time is also single use, that is to say, of those 8 dimensions of wellness, our occupation only sustains us financially. And then, of course, financial and occupational kind of go hand in hand. Great. I'm making money in order to elevate my career, but I'm elevating my career to make more money. Like, that is just a snake eating its tail. But if it's not providing me like social time, right? If I don't have a friend there, then why am I showing up, right? If it's not allowing me to live in the city I want to live in environmentally, what is the point, right? Mentally, if it's too taxing for me mentally or emotionally, then it's this one drawback is not helping me this way, right? I'm sitting all the time because it's physical, right? Or it's too physical, right? What are the other aspects of the wellness, wheel that really that puts it into perspective? Um, anyway, so just as you were talking, it was like, man, you just need a couple more dimensions to like check off on the list to make sure that it's like worth your time, that the value add is there. Um, and thank you, by the way, because that helps me as a up and coming boss to kind of like, okay, I got to make sure that I feel like what I'm moving forward with is worth it so that you can enjoy the value add as well. But I also have to check in with my employees to make sure that like, hey, is there something about the workflow? Is there something about the relationships as we go through this workflow that's still working for you? Because like your sacrifice is not worth it, you know? Um, ah, I love this so much. It makes me so happy. I know it sounds lame because I'm like, lame item number one, we're just gonna stop and have a drink together. Um, or we're gonna play a little getting to know you game, but sometimes I find that I yearn for the lame. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's that lame. I mean, like the original coffee houses of like, you know, hundreds of years ago were places of thriving ideas and communication of great philosophy because people could go there to just drink coffee and talk about what they've learned in or researched or whatever. And there was a lot of people who were like, "Oh, we should stop going to coffee houses because that's where the rebels are and that's where, free thinkers are and stuff." And this is just the next version of that, I think, here we all are drinking something, talking about new ideas, hopefully trying to change the industry, like, or at least talk about the industry. I feel like the similarities are are too poignant to call this lame.
Yeah. Ah, well, that feels that. Thank you. I'll take it. I mean, especially if we get all the guests in that I'm hoping to get in this month, and maybe next month, depending on how all this goes. I've just met some really incredible leaders in the industry. Some at Austin Film Festival, some here in LA. So if for the moment, we're gonna keep this Zoom live. If we can do more like in-house people, I will certainly make that happen as well. But for now, we're just going to keep Biscuits with Bosses as a little Zoom hang. But again, for anybody who is listening either live or even as part of the recording, I invite you to take this time to also grab something to drink, grab a friend, get to know them, do a little Biscuits with Bosses yourself. And feel free, if you don't have someone, you can always just leave your comments below, right? Your answers to your getting to know your questions. Let us know a victory you're celebrating this week. And then, of course, what efforts are you hoping to make to elevate the industry? I think that's all I got. I'm sure there's a way we can like play ourselves out. The only sound effect I have left is from my beloved Rebecca because she is my icon. Um No, I forgot. I switched it out with the snack one. Never mind. And for the record, yes,
No.
Roy Kent. It is my snacks have been tasty. I felt like Poe, right, from Kung Fu Panda, just like I'm gonna have to put this on mute because I'm over here chomping on my loud ass crackers. Um, hey, thank you both for joining me on this little experiment today. I look forward to doing another round. For sure, we'll do it next Thursday, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And hopefully our special guest will be able to join us next week because yeah, we got some cool people who are coming down to Pike. All
Awesome. I
right.
can't wait.
Yay. All right. Have a great afternoon. Thank you for stopping with me for tea and more soon. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
For the record, I don't know how to stop the live